There is a question worth sitting with this morning, and it is this: what if the way your day unfolds has less to do with what happens to you, and more to do with the state of mind you carry when you wake? Most of us begin the day unconsciously. We reach for our phones before we have taken a single breath with intention. We let the world rush in before we have had a moment to decide who we are going to be inside of it. And then we wonder why, by midday, we feel scattered, heavy, or quietly defeated. In the next few minutes, I want to offer you something different. 5 things rooted in ancient wisdom, yet practical enough to begin tomorrow morning, that can shift the entire quality of your day before it has truly begun. Not because life will suddenly become easier, but because you will meet it differently. If any of this speaks to you, I hope you will stay until the end. And if you have not yet done so, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so that when the next teaching arrives, it finds you. Now let us begin. There is a teaching that is very old, yet it arrives fresh each day. When you open your eyes in the morning, before the first thought takes shape, before memory calls back yesterday's worries and tomorrow's burdens, there is a moment of pure stillness. In that moment you are new, not the person who made mistakes last week, not the one who carries regrets from years past, just a living being, breathing, present, alive. In the Buddhist tradition we speak of impermanence, the truth that nothing remains fixed, nothing stays unchanged. We often hear this teaching and feel sadness, as if impermanence is something to mourn. But consider it differently this morning. Because nothing is fixed, because all things flow and change, you are not bound to who you were yesterday. The person who woke up this morning has never existed before. This version of you, in this precise moment, is utterly new. The monks in the old monasteries would ring a bell at dawn, not to startle, but to remind. Wake up, not merely from sleep, but from the dream of being trapped, the dream of being limited, the dream that says you cannot change. The bell says, here is another chance, a small and quiet gift wrapped in ordinary morning light. So when you rise, do not reach immediately for your phone, your plans, your lists of what must be done. Stay with the newness for just a breath or two. Place your feet on the floor and feel the ground beneath you. You are here. You are breathing. Whatever happened before this moment was another life. This one, this morning, belongs entirely to you. Begin it gently. Begin it with intention. Begin it as the rebirth it truly is. By the time most people have been awake for 10 minutes, a storm has already begun inside the mind. Thoughts arrive without invitation. A worry about money, an old argument replaying itself, a fear about the future that has not yet come, and without realizing it, we do something very human. We believe every word the mind says. We become the storm. But there is something in you that watches the storm, something quiet, something steady, something that is not swept away. In Buddhist practice, we call this awareness. It is not a distant philosophical idea. It is something you can find right now, in this very moment, by simply noticing that you are noticing. The thought appears, and something in you sees it appear. That something, that witnessing presence, is not the thought. It is deeper than the thought. This distinction is one of the most liberating truths you can carry into your morning. You are not the voice that says you are not enough. You are not the voice that rehearses failure or predicts rejection. Those are weather patterns moving through the sky of your awareness. The sky itself is untouched. The sky is what you are. Begin your day by sitting quietly for even 2 or 3 minutes. Let thoughts come and go like clouds. Do not fight them. Do not follow them. Do not judge yourself for having them. Simply observe. When you notice a harsh thought arising about yourself, about the day, about another person, meet it with compassion rather than belief. Say to yourself quietly, here is a thought, just a thought, and then gently return to your breath. The breath is always here. It is always calm. It knows something the worried mind forgets, that this moment, just as it is enough. We often wait for gratitude to arrive like a feeling, a warm wave of appreciation that washes over us when something good has happened. But if you wait for that feeling, you may wait a very long time. The mind, by its nature, is drawn toward what is incomplete, what is lacking, what has gone wrong. This is not a fault. It is an old survival instinct. But in the modern world, It means that without intention, the mind will begin each day cataloguing what is missing rather than what is present. Gratitude must be chosen before it is felt. It is less like an emotion and more like a garden. You must tend it each morning before the day takes you away. And the remarkable thing, the thing that monks and teachers have known for centuries and that modern understanding now confirms, is that the practice of gratitude actually changes how the mind sees the world. What you look for, you begin to find. When you train the eye to notice what is good, the world slowly reveals more of its goodness to you. So before you leave your bed each morning, name 3 things. They need not be grand. A body that breathes without effort, the softness of the blanket against your skin, the sound of birds, or the silence before the neighborhood wakes, a friendship that has endured, the simple fact that you are here when so many are not. Do not rush through this practice as a task to be completed. Let each thing you name settle into you for a moment. Let it become real. Gratitude without presence is only a list. Gratitude with presence is a door, and when you open it in the morning, before the world asks anything of you, the light that comes through will stay with you longer than you expect. There is a story of a student who came to a teacher and said, "I understand that everything changes and nothing lasts. I understand impermanence, but it makes me sad. If everything passes, what is the point of anything?" The teacher poured tea into the student's cup until it overflowed, and said, "A cup that is already full cannot receive anything new. Impermanence is what empties the cup." We often carry the heaviness of yesterday into the new morning. We assume that because something was difficult before, it will remain difficult. We assume that because a relationship was painful, or a habit persistent, or a situation unmovable, that it will always be so. But this is the mind confusing memory with reality. Memory says, "This is how things are." Impermanence says, "This is only how things were." Every morning something in your life that was true yesterday is slightly less true today. A grief that was sharp may have softened by a degree you cannot yet measure. A door that was closed may have moved, just barely without your noticing. A version of yourself that felt stuck is already, in small and invisible ways, becoming something else. This is not wishful thinking. This is the nature of all living things. Begin your morning by releasing one thing you have been gripping. Not permanently, not with great drama, just for now, just for this morning. Offer it to impermanence. Say, "You are not fixed. I am not fixed. Something in this can change." This is not the optimism of pretending. This is the deep optimism of someone who understands the law of change and chooses to stand on the side of possibility. The morning is your ally. It has already changed the darkness into light. Trust that it can help you too. There is a window each morning, narrow but real, that exists before the world reaches in, before the messages, before the demands, before the noise of other people's urgency becomes your own. In that window you have the opportunity to ask one quiet question: how do I wish to move through this day? Not what must I accomplish, not what do I fear, but how, with what quality of heart, with what orientation of spirit, do I wish to meet this day? This is the practice of intention, and it is perhaps the most practical teaching that the contemplative traditions offer to a busy and complicated world. An intention is not a goal. A goal is about what you will achieve. An intention is about who you will be while you are achieving, or failing, or simply living. An intention might be, "Today I will listen before I speak," or "Today I will move more slowly and notice more," or simply, "Today I will be kind to others and to myself." These small seeds planted in the quiet of the morning grow in ways we rarely see directly. But at the end of the day, when you sit with yourself, you may notice, something felt different today, something felt more like me. The world will test your intention many times before noon. Something will irritate you. Something will not go as planned. Someone will demand more than you feel ready to give. This is not failure. This is life, offering you a chance to practice. Return to your intention as many times as you need. Return to it the way you return to the breath, without judgment, with patience, with the understanding that the practice is not in the keeping of the intention, but in the returning to it. Begin each morning as a gardener. Plant something small and good before the sun is fully up. Then tend it as best you can. That is enough. That has always been enough. We have walked through 5 teachings this morning, and I want to leave you not with more ideas to carry, but with something simpler, a few small things you can actually do when you wake tomorrow. The first is this. Before you reach for your phone, take 3 conscious breaths. Just 3. Feel the air enter and leave. Let the body remember that it is alive before the mind remembers that it is busy. The second. Name 3 things you are grateful for, not in your head, but out loud, or written in a small notebook kept by your bedside. Let the words exist in the world, not just in thought. The third. Set one intention for the day. A single sentence. How do I wish to meet this day? Write it down. Return to it whenever the day pulls you away from yourself. These 3 things take no more than 5 minutes, and yet practice consistently. They can change the relationship you have with your own mornings and in time with your own life. The path does not ask for perfection. It only asks that you return, again and again, with patience and with gentleness. That returning, that is the whole practice. If this teaching has offered you something useful, I ask only this. Share it with someone who might need it. Leave a comment below. I read every one and tell me which of these 5 things feels most true for where you are right now. Your words may be exactly what another person needed to hear today. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so now and click the bell icon so you will be notified when new teachings are released. There is more to come. Walk gently. Begin again tomorrow.